Hi. In this video, initially we'll look at the definitions in Power BI, the DAX and functions and as such. And in case if you want, you can pause the video and read through all those definitions. And in the next slide, we'll also see what are the common DAX functions which are used. This is not tutorial where I'm going to teach you right from the basics. So probably you might have already watched some videos elsewhere, or I suggest you to grasp the basic concepts by watching those videos or reading those articles. But for now, as a reference, I've included these details here. And as you can see, these are the most common used DAX functions. The reason why we are doing this video is that we wanted to grab a real world data set and try to create several report pages. And this will be a playlist, and as soon as possible I'll try to add more videos, so that we'll be using only one data set, which is UFO Sightings Dataset. And once we have that data set, we'll try to use it and create report pages. We'll try to use most of the visuals which are available with Power BI Desktop, and if needed we'll try to download any custom visuals too. So like I said, let us try to grab the data set, which I think if you have seen my previous two videos, you are aware of that data, UFO sightings data. Let us grab that, pull that window into the screen here. And this is the data, Tidytuesday R. I will leave the link in the description below. And every week they release data sets, and they release a data set, and every data set has all those details, like what are the types, and what is the date, and what is the data source, and every year they release it. And we have identified that we wanted to use a specific data set, which is UFO sightings, which is I think on 6/20 last year. So let us scroll down and see the data set. And here is the data set, UFO sightings. And once we have looked at the data, for example, if you scroll down, there are several ways you can bring the data into Power BI. You can directly download the data. I think looks like there are three tables here. For now, we will load one table. Like I said, every data has those explanations. It will tell you the variable name, what is the data type, and a description. So they're very clear about whatever data they're releasing every week. So if needed, you can download this directly. If you have GitHub account, you can download. Or in our case, we'll try to copy this. We'll try to copy this and use web function. And if you have downloaded, you can go ahead and use text data from get data and text CSV option, so that you can load it from local machine. Or let us try to copy this, and once we copy this, that string is available for us, that link is available to us, and we'll go to quickly go to Power BI, click on get data. Let us click on that. And once we click on that, click on web option, a new window will open up. In that area, you can copy and paste. Let us try to paste whatever we copied, that link. Once you copy that link, the data the data process of data being loaded into Power BI started. I mean, it's about 8284 MB data. So initially the window will appear, and it will give you a preview of the data set. And we have those options: load, transform, and cancel. And once we decided, I think we have already decided that we'll do some transformations. Click on transform data. And once you click on transform data, the Power Query graphical tool editor window will open up. And once you open up, you can make a lot of changes, right? So typically, those tabs are available for you. You can transform, add column, view, and tools. And on the left, you have your query name. It is UFO sightings. You can change the name up top to on the right. And already Power Query window has already identified certain things, that you have your headers and all in your data. Those steps are visible on the right. And Also, if you see, like I said, we can make some changes, right, based on the needs. This data looks clean. You have all those columns up there, and you can in many cases the data might not be clean, so you might have to use some of these options here. You might have to use replace values or clean up the data, and you might bring in more data, or you might have your custom functions invoking them and all that stuff, right? As you kind of start your journey in Power BI, you will learn all those things. If you're a new person, you're trying to learn Power BI, so it is intimidating initially, but I think it will be easy as you kind of practice. It takes a few tries, so that we have to make mistakes. Once we do that and learn from them and try to explore the functionality, we should be able to understand the tool and the various limitations and all. So once we have that, then we can fine tune kind of our DAX code, so that we will try to get the best out of the tool, right? That is a main purpose. Like I said, we can do all those things in case if you want to replace values and you want to detect the data type in case Power BI has made a mistake in detecting the data type you want to change. You want to extract certain characters from your column. You can do that. You can replace values. All those things can be done in this transform option, right? So in our case, we can say in case if we selected reported date, you want to extract certain columns, certain characters. You can do that. You can split the column by whatever delimiter or whatever space or whatever things you want to. You can extract the date, year, month, quarter, week from the date column. So because already Power BI query editor, Power Query Editor has identified as a date column, so you have those options too. And once we kind of look at Power Query window, we have all those options visible to us. You can make changes there in case if you don't have headers, or you want headers, the second row to be headers, and all those things can be done. You can bring in more data too. Once you bring in more data, you can use merge queries and append queries. You can combine most of the queries you have, all those sources, right? So all those things are available for you. And also in case if needed, you can do all those text analytics on your string column, and you can use those options too. So I mean, it's pretty large, kind of area where you can learn Power Query tool. And specifically in case if you interested in that, you can keep exploring that tool too. In our case, we can click on add column, and we want to extract the date because this has year, month, and day, and time, and also. So we wanted to extract the date, so highlight the column with date column and click on date. It extracted the date. So that's the first step which we wanted to add that. And you can similarly you can add a year from the this column, so that you have your date and year. So these two columns we have just added, so that it will be easy for us when we try to use Power BI desktop. And whatever steps which you have created, those steps will appear on the right, like inserted year and inserted date. Those things are there. As you make changes here, those steps will be available. In case if you make mistakes, you can delete them and redo them, so that that option is there. It is pretty intuitive. It is very helpful. Now that we are ready, we don't want to make any changes, so let us go ahead, click on home, click on close and apply. Once we click on close and apply, this data is being evaluated by Power BI desktop, and it is going to load into Power BI desktop. It will take a little bit time because it's a 84 MB data set. So let us wait for that to load. It will evaluate and load, and once it loads, it is available on the right side in the data section. So those things are pretty standard. If you have been using Power BI, it should be easy for you to understand this. And our table is ready here. We can just quickly see the columns. Absolutely, those are the columns, and that includes our columns which we have created. And once we have that, we can always go back to all those panel on the left, table view and report view and all. Let us click on table view and visually see how the table looks after loading into Power BI desktop. So we see that those whatever columns which were created are appearing on the right. So that that is a good thing. So once we scroll to the right, those are the columns which are available, and 96,429 rows I have loaded, and also once we have that, we can always go back to report view, right? So we can probably look at what we want to do. Like I said, we have those options, table view and all. So let us come back to table view, and let us try to change the format of this date column. So because this is like a day of the week and month and day and year, right? So let us simplify that, and I am trying to use month, day and year format, and wherever you are, you can change accordingly according to your need wherever you live, so that that format makes sense to you. So in my case, it's month, day and year. So I've just simplified that column, made it into format which is very local for me. And we see that the data is there from, I think, 1920s to 2023, and the year column is also there. So pretty nice. So let us make changes to the date column. We'll try to consistently name it because we have extracted this from the report date time column. So let us rename it as report date. We could have done that in Power Query window itself, but I thought we can also do here. So both ways we'll learn the tips. So that has changed. We have your date column name changed, and also we have your year column too. So those two columns are appearing here. And the next thing we can do is we can create a calendar table, right? Why do we need a calendar table? Calendar table has a continuous dates, right? So in your data set, there might be missing dates because that maybe lack of transactions or whatever. So a calendar table will give you a continuous dates, and we can use the calendar function. We will pass start date and end date. In our case, we'll say that, hey, min of my report date will be my start date. Max of my report date will be my end date. So that way you have your calendar within that particular window from min and max of the report date. Once we have calendar table, we can use a lot of time analysis, right? We can get the date, month and day of the week, and as such, you can do all those time intelligence things too, pretty easy. And once we have the calendar table, it is appearing on the data section on the right. And let us change that format again. Like I said, we'll make it as a short date, month, day, year. Make changes according to your needs. And once we have that, we have changed the format of the date column to here in calendar table. So that's perfect. That is exactly the first step which is needed. And next is you need to mark this as a date table. So that it will be easy for you to create all your time analysis. So both ways, on the up top you can do it, on the right also you can do it. I right click on that and mark as table. You have these options and just choose the column. In our case, it is only one column, date column. So because we have a simple calendar table, so we have only one column there. Save it so that it becomes a data table. So that's perfect. That's the first step. And next is we can go to the model view. And right now, it's no surprise that there is no relationship between these two tables because this is a disconnected table which we have created. So let us go ahead and try to make the connections, right? The relationships. So let us try to drag the date column from calendar table and try to drop it on the report date. So that way that kind of relationship is established. And sometimes Power BI will automatically give you the relationships it will identify. For now, let us make changes and see what happens. Like I said, we have to experiment, right? That way we will learn better. So I'm trying to change it to both and see what happens. If there is any error popping up, yep, absolutely no. Based on your needs, you can do this. Once you do this and you change your mind, right? We have saved the relationship like this. And once you want to make any changes, you can always go back to model view and right click on that arrow. And once you do that, right click, you have those properties appearing. And again, you can make changes, right? Initially we thought, okay, we wanted to do it as both. The cross filter direction. Now we changed it to single. And also let us try to use some other relationship, right? Cardinality. it says it's an error. So this way, I mean, once we play around, we'll know, right? So we'll know about relationships, cardinalities. And I suggest you to learn about these things, because this is very important concept. Try to learn on your own. Whatever relationships, one-to-one, many-to-one, one-to-many, all those things. So now that we are done with this, we are happy with whatever we are done. And let us go back to report view. And the next step is, I think, we will try to maybe initially create some report, or maybe we'll try to look at the two tables and see what we want to do, right? So the ideal thing we have to create some measures, obviously, right? When we are trying to create several pages, report pages. So I always feel that you should have your measures table as a separate table, so that all your measures are in that table. So that way your data is clean, because your original data and whatever you have transformations you did in your Power Query window, those things are intact, and it's pretty easy for you to go back to your measures, because it is separate. It's a disconnected table. Obviously, you cannot create any relationships here. So that is a cool idea, I thought, where you have your measures in your table. So now that we have created a table, let us create a new measure. Because there is 96,000 odd rows, we want to see what are the total sightings, right? That's a basic first step for us to create a measure. So once you right click and go to that area, we'll try to name it appropriately. We'll say that total sightings is the name of the measure. And once you have that, let us use the sum, and let us see if there is any column which we can add. Unfortunately, in our case, it's not, because we don't have any column which says the count, right? Where you have your transactions or your total sightings or sightings on that day, or nothing. Nothing is there. So we'll be a little bit innovative. We'll try to use count rows. Obviously, count rows will count the table. As we already know that each row is a separate record. So that way we have all those total sightings. And whenever we use this measure in any visual, that will be filtered according to whatever data you have selected. So that is what we wanted. And like you see, you have your total sightings. Drag that onto your canvas. Once you drag that, you can just resize it and make the minor changes. Again, this is again, look and feel is up to us. Whatever we want to, we can resize it. We can make sure that the color value is none, selected none, so that all the whatever count is appearing in this fashion, 1000 separator, and you can resize it and do all those things. That is the first step. And second is that we can always go back and see the data in our main table, UFO sightings, and quickly look at what we want to create next. So we have all those columns, and next is we can, like I said, we can always go back and see whatever columns we have. We have your date and year. So in the year column, it is like I said, it's coming from 1925 to 2023. So it's a very almost 100 years of data is here. So there are ways, right? In case if the need is that we want to create a decade bin, right? So how can we do it? So this is one way of doing it. We can do it in Power Query window also. All we have to do is go to that particular column, right click, create a new group. We want to create a bin size of 10, so that already every 10 years is a decade, right? So this is one way of doing it. Pass the 10 here, and your bins column is ready, years bin column. So that way you when you create visuals, if it is like 100 years data, if you're trying to create any visual, it will be difficult for us to visualize properly. So once you have decade, you have that chunk of 10 years, so that it will be easy. So as we can see in the table, we have those year bins, column is created. So let us try to select 1920, so that 1920, whatever records are in that window. Again, it's a 10, the bin size is 10, right? So whatever 10 years are there, those records will pop up. As you can see, 3 records are there. We have 28 and 29 and 25. So I think this is one way of doing it. There is another way of doing it. We can always go back to Power Query window and use a single line code and create a decade bin there too. So I think I thought we can see these two methods. That way, based on the needs, we can choose either ones. So let us try to delete that column which we have created. So at the same time, let us delete the column from the measures table. Now that you have created one measure, you don't need that column anymore. So those things we have done. Now that we have done, let us try to go back to our table. So once we are in the table, we can see the three tables appearing up there. Once we are in the table, let us try to go back to home and transform the data, because like I said, we'll see the second method of creating a decade bin. So this is once you are there, once you click on that, you are in this Power Query window, and we know that we can add a column, and we know that it is a custom column. Once we click on that, a new window will appear where you enter the code here. Like I said, it's a single line code. You can pause the video. Initially you can name it as a decade bin. Actually the decade is from say 1921 to 30, right? So we have to add complex DAX code, but we'll make it simple. We'll assume that 1920s, 1930s, those are the things which we want. We can use this date to text initially to change into text, and then extract those first three values from that particular column. So that way we have those 1920s, 30s, and 40s and so on. So that way we have the decade column also. Like I said, this is another way of creating a decade bin. So we have the decade bin. Again, we can go back and kind of do the filtering and try to select maybe 1920s again. So let us see. Let us click on select only 1920s. I think three things should come up. So most likely those are the things which are there. Yeah, perfect. This is exactly what we have seen in Power BI Desktop too. So this is another way of creating a decade bin. So I thought we can do this way too. So let us remove the filter, clear the filter. And now that we are done here, let us go back to close and apply, home, close and apply, so that we will be back in Power BI Desktop. So at least we have achieved one part here. We have learned about how to create group in Power BI Desktop, and also how to create that in your Power Query window too. So now that we are ready, let us try to create our first visual. Let us click on slicer. Let us add data to this slicer. Let us try to add our decade, because this is what we have done. Let us add the decade bin here. So perfect, we have that decade slicer appearing on the left. If you select, make any selections on the slicer, your total sightings is also changing. That is what we want. We'll make this slicer to a tile, so that it will look good in our visual. So you can resize and do all those things, absolutely no problem. You can use those guidelines and make sure that all the visuals are aligned properly. So you can use the format also, but otherwise you can manually drag that way. That is one thing which we have done. Let us use the bar chart for our visual, first visual. Let us click on that. Once we click on that, try to add our data to y-axis. Y-axis, let us pull maybe shape or country. Maybe we'll try to pull the country code. So the y-axis is the country code, and x-axis we've already calculated total sightings. So let us go to measure table, drag the total sightings onto x-axis. Yep, perfect. This is a pretty good looking bar graph. And let us try to clean it up a little bit. Let us try to add data labels, and 88K, 4K, 2K countrywide. And looks like US has many sightings, as we have already seen in the previous examples. And let us try to format, and let us try to again do the 1000 separator. We'll click on data labels, go to the value in the data labels, and make sure that it is checked to none. So let us try to select none. It is in auto currently. None will give us the exact number. So 88213 for US. So this is perfect. This looks good for us. Let us make some kind of formatting. Let us click on any of those selections. So everything is changing. Your total sightings are changing, and also in the bar chart, those things are changing. You can pause the video and clean it up a little bit. Also, you can add more things, but for now we'll make it simple. Let us click on, this is another cool trick. We can use Format Painter and try to click on other visuals. So all those things are automatically appearing. You don't have to go to individual visual and make those changes, right? Border and all that stuff. So all these changes are automatic here after using Format Painter. And we have that visual up here. So now that this is done, let us quickly create another visual. We'll just try to copy the same visual so that it will be easy for us to create another, convert this into another visual. So let us copy it, and let us try to paste it in an area, new area. And once we have that, we'll just drag it. It's easy to click on those three dots. It is easy to slide your, move your visual from one area to another in your canvas chart. This is good. And now that we have this visual, let us remove country code. Let us add some other thing here, maybe shape. Yep, shape is appropriate. So shape, that way we have on the left, we have the country, total sightings by country. On the right, you have your by shape. So if you click on the slicer, so everything looks perfect for us, right? So in a short time, we could create this visual. Absolutely pretty easy, not too much complications. The code is also pretty simple for us to understand. And now it is for the look and feel. You can click on the thing, and you want to change the colors of the bar. You can click on color and click on FX. And here you have those options. You can have the gradient or rules and field value. As we build visuals, we can use other options too. For now, you can, in case if you want to change for minimum and maximum color, you can change it. For now, we'll keep it here, add a middle color. We'll go with the default things. We have some color to the visual too. So this is one way to create the color so that it will be visually appealing. We'll remove the legend so that it is easy here. So I think we have achieved whatever we have intended to do. This is a good visual. And like I said, we can click on any visuals and slice, use those filters, and look at the data. It looks good. Now that we have done this, and in the next several videos, every video we'll try to create one report page and learn from it